Well, hello there, YouTube. It's Tuesday, December 6th, 2022. And today's going to be a great day because you're going to get a couple of videos. So I'm starting off with this video, which is installing the end cover. You know, that's what this is where it all began. Can you believe it? So it's a little more than a year now, but when I first started this project, I took out the transmission because I had a bad seal leak, and that's when I found that I had a spun seal. And then, you know, it just kind of mushroomed from there. So, matter of fact, I have a little clip that I want to show with that, but now stay tuned. Before I go to that little clip, I want you guys to really pay attention and watch each one of these videos because it's going to be really important. I'm following the manual, I'm doing different things. You know, so there's going to be this next video, which is going to be installing the seal. And then the one right after that, believe it or not, I should say, in the next video where I install the rear main seal, I'm also going to remove the rear cover. So, and we're going to do that so we can inspect it and see how well we did. Let's evaluate our work. Make sure we're doing it right. I mean, you know, it's at my expense and at your enjoyment, right? Or you're gonna save some money. You could save some money. So let's take a really good look at how this all began, and this is where it all started, right here. I just want to get it removed from here because I don't want it falling into the engine if I can help it. But, I mean, these are the reasons why, you know, why I'm so cautious before I do anything. I ask, I try to do it right the first time. But you can see, even in there, right, that's got way too much silicone. We don't need that much silicone. And that's the way some guys do it, but we're not going to do it that way. So, but before we get into how and what products and stuff that I'm using, I think I want to first start off by making my life a little bit easier. The first thing I did is I made some little 8mm studs. And I'm going to take these 8mm studs and I'm going to set them on the engine block right over there. Those pins will make your life a lot easier when we slide this cover on. All of these bolts here are longer than these 4 here in the front. So what I did is I went ahead and I put a yellow dot on the top of these 4, and I also referenced it on here with a little yellow dot. And that's so I can just reach for whatever, and if I find one with a yellow dot, I'll know where it goes. All these bolts I cleaned with a wire brush. I also used a high quality chase 6mm M6 into the engine block. High quality though, don't use a tap. And I made sure that all the sealant was out of there. As you saw in that video, you know, there's a lot of sealant some of these guys get in there. So I suggest you clean those out so you get a proper torque setting. Speaking about torque, you're going to need a torque wrench. So this is the torque wrench I'm going to use. This is only torqued to 9 Newton meters. So this is a click style. I really like this. It's great for bikes and, you know, the head work, or not heads, but the intake manifold, things like that, where you don't need a lot of torque. I'm going to use a little dab of this on the back of the spring just to help hold it in. Before we tackle putting sealant on this, let's first talk about these things. Both of these seals are correct. This is genuine Mercedes, and this is an aftermarket. You'll see, everyone will say, oh, the 13 millimeter seal is the original seal, where, for example, the wear ring would be in the same position. So they came up with this, which is a repair seal. And this is for the crankshaft. So this is only 10 millimeter in thickness. The original was 13 millimeter. All right? So it covers the cover more. It goes into the cover. It actually bottoms to the end of the cover. So this number, though, even though it's a different number, the Mercedes only sells the repair seal. This is the number for the repair seal. What's nice about it is, again, it is 13 millimeter. And the tool that's made specific for this as well. Now, here's a comparison of the two seals. You'll notice the Mercedes-Benz has a smaller spring. And the other one is it's a little bit larger. Now, both of these offsets are about the same, I think. When you really get down and get it measured, they're both a repair ring, so they don't go on the original thing. But there's the tool that you would need to install this. So this is kind of one of the reasons people fail at this, is because they use blocks of wood, they pound it, and when you pound it like that, those little springs pop off sometimes, or you catch a lip, and different things like this. This one here will keep equal pressure. Now, you could probably make this. I'm going to tell you, for one thing, this thing weighs a ton. So let's set this aside until we need it. And again, either one of these is correct. You can use either, but if you're going to use the tool, I suggest you probably just use the right one. The Mercedes, because the tool is designed for that 13 millimeter. I don't know if it's going to make a difference. I don't know. I think this will still seat to the outside, but it's not going to go all the way in. So there's a difference. There's definitely a difference. It's probably personal choice. I know people have great success with this as well, so I don't think it matters. I'm going to use Mercedes since I've got the Mercedes tool. So let's set this aside. So the manual, which there's a link in the description, for the removal and installation of the end cover, you can see where we have 9 Newton meters as our torque. And that's the tool that I purchased. The instructions say to carefully clean sealing surface on crankcase and end cover, which I did. Now, like I said, we chased the bolts. Now it says to uniformly coat the end cover sealing surface with sealing compound, right? You're gonna spread it all over the place. It must be observed that no sealing compound enters the oil circuit. And then it says to fill the sealing ring space between the dust and sealing lips with long life grease. This is what the manual says, not what I'm gonna do. And then it says slide the end cover with radial sealing ring over the attached installation tool for radial sealing ring and bolt on. And then it says caution, observe different bolt lengths. Now, we've already talked about that. So if you follow those instructions, that's just probably what it's going to end up looking like. You can see it all smeared down there at the bottom, which it doesn't even need to be. And then the left side there and top right, I mean, that's actually smeared all over. I think the person smeared it all over the block side is what they did. You saw the video and we pulled all that stuff out. So all that ended up into the oil pump and all that. So this is another reason why we had to tear it down, find out where all that stuff goes. So this is actually where no RTV should go. Period. No RTV there. Now, how do I know that? That one part there at the bottom is the cap. That's for the bearing. It's indented. That little band right there, that is where it starts. And that's where it goes all the way through. You can see how it goes right there from this angle. Right? It starts there and it goes up and it's the exact same spot on the other side. So we don't put anything there, that's for sure. Right? So that's why I had these little black, I don't know if, yes, you can see that right there. So nothing goes here. Now, if you have an M119 though, there's a little bit different. There's a part over there on that one side you have to leave out, okay? Because of on the M119, oil needs to pass through that area, so you don't put any silicone in that area. Again, we're working on an M117. So I took that and said, okay, if I did my bead like that, and then I did a flip to see how that would match up. And you can see where all the sealing points are. And nothing goes on the bottom. You see how there's nothing there? So don't put any sealant on the bottom. Know where all that stuff ended up in my engine, because whoever did it didn't know what they were doing, right? They smeared it everywhere. So that's the correct silicone path, the RTV, for an M117. I think an M116 is also the same. So now let's talk about what type of silicone. The one on the left there is genuine Mercedes, and this is what the manual says to use. And the middle one is what Tassos, I understand or heard or watched something where this is the type of silicone that he's used for many, many, many years. And then the one on the right is what a person, a master technician, you guys know the story. There's a link to that right there at the top. This is what they've used. He himself has used on over 1,000 engines and never had a leak. I'm sure Tassos has never had a leak, and I'm sure Mercedes would say they never had a leak. So really, that middle one though, that Toyota sealant, is really hard to get here in this country. I literally could not really find it in this country. So, but I'm sure the equivalent is probably one of these. So it's all very similar. I think now it comes down to technique. This was easier to get, got it right off of Amazon. It's in the link below. Now, there is a difference though. What I don't like about this one, I'm gonna tell you, but do you see the hole opening? You see how big this one is? That's a little bigger than I want to get, I think. You see how small this one is? Well, it's not through yet, but you can barely see. It's very much different. So I'm going to actually test this prior to putting it on this cover, because you only need a very small, minute amount. So that being said, I'm going to go ahead and put this away, and I'm going to prep this, and I'm going to get the old cover, and I'm just going to do a test, and then when I come back, you guys will know which one I'm going to use. All right, let's do this one. I feel confident. Yeah, it gets on you. It gets on you. Okay, so that's the cover. That looks good. All right, let's go bring it over to the block. So because we have those two studs in there, and I can hold this on the side here. Let me get my head where this is. There we go. Now we can just slide that on. This is a long one. These are those ones with the yellow on the tips. These are 8mm threaded on the cover, so you can actually use an 8mm threaded bolt to pull this off. Just do a little wrist tighten here. All right. Now let's go with 4.5 Newton meters. That's one. It's two. That one. Let me get this stuff off my hand here. You know? All right, now we'll just do a once over just to make sure that we're at 4.5. Yep. Okay, the instructions say you can take a knife and, you know, if you overdid it a little bit, it's just do it. I'm just gonna catch the edge. I mean, I did a really good job, I think, but it could be a little cleaner, so I'm just gonna go ahead and run this on there like it says. I think they just want me to get this on here now because it'll come off. It'll just end up coming off really easy later if you just do this now. All I'm doing is just cutting the edge. That's it. After this dries, this will pop right off. And that's really all we want. Perfect. So now we wait. So it's been exactly 24 hours since I torqued it down at half torque. Now, when I first heard about this, you know, this is a method that has been done with a master builder for over 1,000 engines in the last 10 years. But after I start to learn a little bit about this, I find out a little bit about this Loctite 5900, this SI 5900. You can see there that it has a curing, time. So you can see it doesn't even start to cure for 24 hours basically. It takes actually several days until it gets to a final cure. You can see, like, here's the depth of cure. Of course, we're pretty light. I did a half torque here, but it's still dried, obviously. But what I want to do now is I need to get over there and I need to get this as a final torque, exactly 24 hours, and we'll take a look at everything, and then we'll look at this a little bit closer over there. Right there at the engine, let's go. So I have this set at exactly 9 Newton meters. Now, if you buy one of these, be real careful because the top numbers here are for pounds. You have to look at the Newton meters and then have it on Newton. All right, so don't make that mistake. So I have it set exactly at 9. But before I do that, I want to wipe down all this color. That way there I can use yellow as my final torque color. I kind of like the color yellow. That's why I started with yellow, so I can leave those little yellow ones in there as reference. For anyone that sees that the engine that I built. Yeah, so that's a different way of doing it. I mean, people do things different ways. People have success. Why do I want to argue with success? I see no reason to argue. I've never used this product before. World famous master builder has done this with over 1,000 engines. Now that's all. I don't want to contaminate any of this yet. It's not cured. So I don't want to do any of that with any brake clean or anything like that at this point. All I want to do is torque it. I'll start here. That's 1. That's 2. That's 3. That's 4. 5. 6. 7. 8. 9. I'm about 11. You can do a once around just like I did before. This is a really nice torque wrench. I like it. I mean, it doesn't give at all. The digital, you kind of got to go over in order to see if you've made it there. This thing stops exactly where it belongs. Now that it's all torqued down, I'm just going to lift off this stuff here because I cut it away, right, to start with. So this now is not attached to the one on the inside. So I can just take that like that, and then you guys will be able to see what I left behind. Again, I don't want to use any brake cleaner or anything right now. Nothing like that. But that's it. That's all that's there. It's completely separated, you know, from the inside one because we cleaned it, so it all looks great. Nice, very nice. All right, so I'm just gonna clean it up a little bit here, a little bit there where some got, just a little bit there. You know, I'm not gonna spray it with any brake clean or anything like that. I'm just gonna clean it up a little bit. So I wanted to show you the properties of this. This is the old one, you know. I got that far and I says, you know, I think I can do that with that one. And so that's why I use it. It's an optical illusion, really. It looked like I put a whole lot on that cover, but I didn't. This is pretty much what I did. But the unique properties of this too, you know, it's silicone, but it's, I don't know, it's different. But you see that? It's not hard. And I like it by torquing it down, you know, minimal first, and then cinching it down. You're kind of taking that up and giving yourself some room. So I can see why, you know, that method can work, you know, and like I said, over 1,250 engines the world famous master mechanic had actually completed using this exact method and that product. It's been successful, and I'm sure I didn't even ask Tassos what his method was. I did not ask anyone. I read the manual and said smear it and put it on there, and then this method here was demonstrated. So now I'm going to take you off there and just give you a look around to see what I did. All right, there's that. You can see that's probably the most squeeze out I got. You can see just a little bit there. There we go. Now this is where you saw when it was wet, where I just ran the knife across that part. This here, you can see where the line is still there. See, I just left that to show you that, you know, that comes off. It's not attached to the other wall, to the inside wall here. You can see some squirt out. It's kind of difficult, but yep, got it everywhere, guys. Not down here though, like the other one. None of that. It's nice and clean, just there, right? Right where you want it. And I want to point out too, you guys, I didn't put any brake clean. I didn't squirt brake clean anywhere on that cover. I didn't do anything to that cover whatsoever. The only thing I did was put a little bit of brake clean on the outside of a lint-free cloth, and I just did some of the outside where I got it. I did not touch any of the joint at all because I don't want, you know, I don't want to alter that at all, right? Let it get final cured before you start messing with any of that thing. Okay, you guys, so stay tuned for the next video. It's coming right up within the hour. You've got to watch that video because not only are we going to install the rear seal on the back of this, but I'm also going to remove the rear cover and seal, and we're going to evaluate what we did in this video. So you guys, you have to subscribe. You got to come, not only subscribe, but you got to watch this next video, that's for sure, right? Click the bell so you're notified when that thing comes out. All right, so until then, you guys, I'll catch you on the next one.